gonna wait.
I have to tell you, I don't normally wear heels, and my knees are shaking so badly right now. I picked the wrong night to start. In 2 days, it'll be the 5-year anniversary of Jeremy being diagnosed. It's a day that a parent never forgets. When your child is diagnosed with cancer, your world collapses. Life as you know it no longer exists. Your priorities change, you question your faith, you ask all of those why questions you have no answers to. And for the first time in your life, you learn the true meaning of the word fear. But the one thing you do have to hold on to is hope. But if you know anything about pediatric cancer treatments, you know that they're long, and the days can drag on, and even the most positive individual can lose hope. Jeremy, however, never doubted for one moment that he would make it. And I am not a believer that tragedy or crisis develops character, but I have since learned that it reveals it. And I saw both of my children transformed. Jeremy went from a somewhat shy 17-year-old boy to a strong, determined young man. And Ben, who is not quite 13, showed such courage when I know he had the weight of the world resting on his young shoulders. But 5 years later, here I stand, the proud mother of a pediatric cancer survivor. And survivor is not a word that I take lightly. And I believe that I can say that word not just because of medical science. I do believe divine intervention played a hand, but I think in my heart, I really believe that it had so much to do with so many people showing us how much they cared and just willing him to fight. We were so supported, we literally felt like we had a blanket wrapped around us. If you asked anybody in our family what we remember most, we won't tell you the chemo or the fear, but we will tell you how incredibly loved we felt. And I have to tell you, when you are on the receiving end of so much love, something magical happens. And that magic is hope. You develop hope. You know, I don't understand why anybody would not want to pay that forward. It's such an incredible feeling. When Dr. and Mrs. Ali came to our home and told us we were the recipient, we were not just overwhelmed, but incredibly embarrassed, because we really don't feel that it belongs with us, but it belongs with all of those individuals that supported us, showed us they cared, offered us hope. That's who this belongs to. They inspired us to pay it forward. And the children that we work with at Rainbow and at Ronald McDonald House, they continue to inspire us with their capacity to enjoy life in the middle of their struggles. I have to tell you, these kids come out of their hospital rooms carrying an IV pole, which no 2-year-old should have to hold on to, but yet they're wearing these incredibly beautiful smiles. We are so grateful to every family that has allowed us in their journey. And although we don't feel worthy, we do promise you we will continue in the hopes that someday we will be. Thank you. I know that the boys have something too.
First of all, I'd just like to say thanks, and I'd just like to share a quote with you. I understand this also is a favorite quote of another past living angel, Laura Zicki. And here's how it goes. And once the storm is over, you won't remember how you made it through, how you managed to survive. You won't even be sure the storm is really over. But one thing is certain. When you come out of the storm, you won't be the same person that walked in. That's what the storm is all about. I'm certainly not the same person prior to being sick. I won't lie about that. I wouldn't want to go through all that again. But I will admit, there are many positives that came out of my experience. I have learned to be grateful, and I've also learned that life is short. I also believe that every storm has a purpose, and every person has a purpose in life. You may not know that what that is yet. But I strongly encourage you to, and every one of you, to look for it in yourself.
When a loved one is struck with an illness such as cancer, you don't really think twice about being a donor. But there are millions out there fighting against these illnesses who don't have a relative or a friend who will be a match for them. And only 2% of the American population is on the donor registry, and approximately 3,000 people will lose their lives to cancer due to not being able to find a match. So I encourage each and every one of you to take a shot. It's only 2 days off work or out of your normal lives, and it can be a lifetime to someone else. So I encourage all of you to to get put on the bone marrow donor registry. Thank you.
They may not think that they deserve this, but I defy any one of us in this room to say they do not. Let's give a round of applause once again to Jeremy, Ben, and Deb. Maria? We have the newspaper wants to make sure they get you in your best pose. Maria has your tokens of our appreciation, a draft of the presentation. And then I'm going to ask our angels who came up to the stage with me before to file out into the foyer, because it's become a tradition. If you look at the paper the next day, there's usually a group photo in at least the Journal of the Chronicle of the recipient of the Angel Award plus the present angels, and it makes for a nice picture and a nice article. So bear with us for a minute, if you would. Ruben and Maria, Marge, Mary Kay, Madeline, and Patty, if you would go to the entrance. Got to tell you that while Maria's doing this, I was just, in the years that Maria and I have had the privilege of going to the homes of the angels, I was overwhelmed with not one unique individual, but 3 of them. And I asked a lot of questions. So I have something to say. And I usually have a lot to say because you've got a lot of good material. And this year, I just felt so unbelievably humbled to be sitting there and looking at these 2 young men who were 4 or 5 years younger when this all started, and Debbie, who just a pillar of strength, resourceful, intelligent, well-educated, a woman of business and marketing, and for them to do everything that we said they've done is just a remarkable story. So I'm going to stop talking and ask them to go to the lobby, and I would like one more time for us to give them a round of applause. Okay? Jeremy. Her knees are still shaking, but she's walking straight.